cooks food without meat? Chioma's voice cut through the small hostel room. She stood over Ada's pot of jollof rice, her nose wrinkled like she'd smelled something rotten. I can't eat this kind of food. I will purge. Blee. She clutched her stomach, making exaggerated vomiting sounds. Ada's hand froze on the wooden spoon. Her jaw tightened. I am the one eating it, not you. You know I am from a rich home, all this poor people's way of life is new to me. Me personally can't eat food without meat. My rich dad made sure of that. But it's just so pathetic you cook without meat. Chioma lied through teeth without flinching. Deep in her mind she knew she was lying. She knew she came from the poorest family in a small village, but she had decided to fake it till she make it in this university even if she had to deny her family's background. 3 months earlier, Chioma had stepped out of a hired taxi like a queen descending from a throne. She'd paid the driver extra, told him to call her madam, to carry her bags like a servant. Your bags, madam, he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. Thank you. Tell Papa I arrived safely. Students paused on the walkway, staring. Chioma's heart raced beneath her calm exterior. This was it. She'd made up her mind. She would be among the rich, happening girls in this school. No matter what. Even if she had to lie her way up. The whispers started immediately. That girl seems rich. Chioma smiled to herself. It was already working. Her heels clicked on the concrete floor as she walked through the hostel corridor. Each step was calculated, performative. Students stopped their conversations to watch her pass. She kept her chin up, her face bored, like she'd seen better places than this. Like she belonged somewhere else entirely. That night, sitting on her new bed surrounded by her roommates, Ada, Ngozi, and Fonmi, Chioma began weaving her web. My father wanted me in a private hostel, she said casually, unpacking her modest belongings like they were treasures. But I insisted on experiencing normal student life. How else will I understand the masses when I take over his companies? Ngozi's eyes went wide. Companies. 7. Manufacturing, real estate, importation. Chioma paused, watching their faces. But I don't like to brag. The girls nodded, impressed. Chioma felt a rush of power. They believed her. They actually believed her. Within a week, Chioma had an entourage. In the cafeteria, girls crowded around her table, Blessing, Grace, Nkechi, and others. They laughed too hard at her jokes, agreed with everything she said. Let me buy lunch, Blessing offered eagerly. My treat. Chioma waved her hand like she was swatting away a fly. Keep your money. I ate at the executive restaurant this morning. She looked around the cafeteria with barely concealed disgust. The food here is for people on a budget. The girls nodded solemnly, as if she'd shared profound wisdom. None of them noticed she hadn't eaten anything all day. Grace appeared at their room door one afternoon, clutching a wrapped package. Her face was nervous, hopeful. For you, she said, pushing it toward Chioma. I saw it and thought of you. Chioma tore it open without ceremony. Inside was a wristwatch, modest, probably 2,000 naira at most. The room went silent. This. Chioma held it between two fingers like it might contaminate her. Grace, this is too cheap. Too classless for someone like me. Grace's face crumbled. I'm sorry. I thought. It's fine. Chioma's voice dripped with false sweetness. The thought counts, they say. Even if the execution was lacking. She walked to the corner and dropped it in the dustbin with a dull thud. Grace left quickly, her eyes wet with tears. At 2 a.m., Chioma crept out of bed. She checked that her roommates were sleeping, their breathing slow and steady. Then she retrieved the watch from the trash, wiping it clean with the edge of her wrapper. In the moonlight streaming through the window, She examined it. It was actually nice. She could sell it. Or wear it when no one from school was around. She slipped it under her mattress, her secret shame hidden in the darkness. My father is sending the driver tomorrow, Chioma announced one morning, her phone pressed to her ear. But there was no one on the other end. The screen was dark, lifeless. He wants to take me shopping in Abuja. The styles here are so provincial. Her roommates looked up from their textbooks, that familiar mixture of envy and admiration flooding their faces. Chioma felt invincible. In the lecture hall during a group project discussion, Kemi made the mistake of disagreeing with Chioma. I think we should split the work equally, Kemi said. Chioma's eyes went ice cold. The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Equally. Do you know who my father is? He could shut down this school and your entire family with one phone call. The class went silent. Kemi looked down at her desk, defeated. That's what I thought, Chioma said, leaning back in her chair like a queen on her throne. They came willingly now. Blessing typed up Chioma's entire term paper without being asked. Others carried her books to class, bought her lunch, did her laundry. All done. Blessing said cheerfully after submitting Chioma's assignment. Submitted for you. Chioma barely looked up from her phone. You guys are building connections for your children, I see. That's smart. Blessing beamed like she'd been given a great compliment. Exactly. The connections you build in school will help in the future. Very smart, Chioma repeated, already scrolling to the next post, the next lie, the next moment of pretend. That night, locked in the bathroom, she stared at herself in the cracked mirror, at the girl in borrowed confidence. For a moment, something flickered in her eyes. Doubt. Fear. The ghost of who she really was. Then she buried it deep, and became Chioma the liar once more. 10 students crowded into her room, Daniel, Janet, and others. Their faces were eager, hungry for opportunity. My father is launching a company, Chioma announced like she was sharing state secrets. Specifically for upcoming graduates. Management positions, good salaries, benefits. The students leaned forward, barely breathing. But it's exclusive. Limited spots. She paused, letting the tension build. He wants serious people only. 50,000 naira to secure your position. 50,000. Janet gasped, that's nothing compared to what you'll earn. Think about it, guaranteed employment after graduation. Chioma's voice was smooth, confident. My father is doing you a favor. The students looked at each other. Temptation danced in their eyes. They came one by one over the next week. Cash. Bank transfers. Their hands shaking with excitement and hope. Thank you, Chioma. You're a lifesaver. My parents would be so happy. God bless your father. Chioma collected it all, writing their names in a notebook that meant nothing, promising them futures that didn't exist. By the end of the week, she had 500,000 naira. New shoes. New bags. New wigs. Data bundles. Food from the expensive restaurant. Chioma spent the money like water, each purchase making her feel more real, more like the person she pretended to be. That's a nice bag, someone said in class one day. Gift from my father, Chioma replied smoothly. He just sent it. She didn't think about the 10 students waiting for employment letters. She didn't think about anything except the next lie, the next purchase, the next moment of feeling like she belonged. Her phone rang one Tuesday morning. An actual call this time. Chioma saw the name, Papa, and her blood turned to ice. She didn't answer. The phone kept ringing, vibrating angrily in her hand. Her roommates glanced up, curious. Spam, Chioma said quickly, switching it off. But her hands shook slightly. They kept coming. Text after text in the dead of night. Chioma, Where is my money? Chioma, I know what you did. Chioma, I am coming to that school. She deleted each one, her fingers trembling in the darkness, her heart pounding against her ribs. But she couldn't delete the fear. She stopped eating properly. Stopped sleeping. Her performance wavered like a candle in the wind. Are you okay? Blessing asked one day, genuine concern in her voice. I'm fine, Chioma snapped. My father is just testing me. It's a family thing. You wouldn't understand. Blessing backed away, confused and hurt. It happened on a Wednesday afternoon in the cafeteria. Chioma was surrounded by students, telling another elaborate story about her family's private jet, when the room went suddenly, terrifyingly silent. A man stood in the doorway. Old, weathered, wearing worn clothes and rubber slippers. He looked around with desperate eyes. Chioma, he called out. Chioma Okafor. Chioma's blood turned to ice. She knew that voice. She knew that face. Papa, she whispered. Papa. Blessing repeated slowly. That's your father. The man walked toward her, and with each step, Chioma's carefully constructed world crumbled. You stole from me. His voice echoed through the cafeteria like thunder. Students at other tables stopped eating, stopped talking, stopped breathing. You took my savings. The money I kept for your brother's school fees. For medicine for your mother. I don't know what you're talking about, Chioma's voice came out weak, broken. Don't lie to me. Her father pulled out his phone with shaking hands. You used my phone when you were home. You transferred everything to yourself. 20,000 naira. All I had. The cafeteria was dead silent now. You could hear a pin drop. This is your father? Blessing asked, her voice hollow with shock. But you said. I said nothing, Chioma whispered, the lie dying in her throat. We are farmers. Her father's voice broke. I sold my land to send you here. I thought you would make us proud. But instead, you steal. You abandon us. You don't even answer my calls. Someone laughed. A small, shocked sound. Then another. And another. She lied, Kemi said, standing up slowly. About everything. The whispers exploded like wildfire. Within an hour, everyone knew. The news spread through campus like a plague, infecting every corner, every conversation. Chioma, the rich girl, was a fraud. Chioma, who wouldn't eat food without meat, was a farmer's daughter. Chioma, whose father owned 7 companies, had a father who couldn't afford his son's school fees. The lies crumbled to dust, and underneath was nothing but shame. She tried to walk back to her hostel, but they were waiting. All 10 of them. Daniel, Janet, and the others who'd paid 50,000 naira each for jobs that didn't exist. Chioma. Daniel's voice was hard as steel. Where's our money? I don't know what you're talking about. The company. Your father's company. Janet's voice climbed higher, shriller. We've been waiting for months. No letters. No calls. Nothing. Other students stopped to watch. A crowd formed, circling like vultures. You're a liar. There is no company. Your father is a poor farmer. You scammed us. I want my money back. Me too. All of it. They pressed closer, their faces twisted with anger and betrayal. Someone pulled out their phone, started recording. Chioma backed against the wall, trapped, drowning. When she finally reached her room, Ada, Ngozi, and Funmi were throwing her things into bags. Not packing. Throwing. Get out, Ada said quietly. We requested a room change. The hostel master approved it. Ada, please. You called me poor. Ada's voice shook with rage. You said I cook like a refugee. You threw Grace's gift in the trash. All while stealing from your own father. Grace appeared at the door. Behind her stood Nkechi, Kemi, and others. Girls Chioma had insulted, dismissed, humiliated. My gift, Grace said, her voice cold as winter. Where is it? Chioma said nothing. Grace walked to the mattress and flipped it. The watch tumbled out. Then Nkechi's dress. Then other items, all the trashed gifts Chioma had secretly kept to sell or use. A thief and a liar, Grace said. The dean's office felt too small, the air too thick. Chioma sat across from him, and beside her, looking small and broken in the leather chair, sat her father. We've discussed your behavior, the dean said. The lying, the theft. Your father has decided to withdraw you from school. No. The word came out as a whisper. Please. I sold everything for you. Her father's voice was quiet now, drained of anger, filled only with sadness. Everything. Because I believed in you. Because you were smart. But you used that brain for lies and theft. He stood up, suddenly looking much older than his years. We are going home. You will work the farm. Maybe there, you will remember who you really are. She had to walk through campus one last time to collect her documents. Students pointed. Laughed. Took pictures and videos. That's her. The fake rich girl. I heard she ate from dustbins. My brother said she's from a village so small it's not even on Google Maps. Each word was a stone, and they buried her alive. They waited for the bus to the village in silence. Her father hadn't spoken since they left the dean's office. Chioma sat on the bench, watching luxury cars pass, knowing she'd never ride in one. A student from her class walked by, saw her, and spat on the ground. Poverty is not your crime, the girl said, her voice cutting. Your crime is that you hated yourself so much, you became someone worse. The words hung in the air long after the girl walked away. The bus was cramped and hot, smelling of sweat and dried fish. Her father sat by the window, staring out at the passing landscape like he was watching his dreams die. I'm sorry, Papa, Chioma finally said, her voice small. He didn't turn. Didn't even blink. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. The truth of it hit her like a physical blow. She had no response because he was right. The village looked exactly as she'd left it. Small houses with zinc roofs. Dusty roads where chickens pecked for food. Children playing with sticks and stones. Everything she'd run from, everything she'd denied, everything she'd been ashamed of. Her mother stood in the doorway of their house, her face tired and impossibly sad. Welcome home, she said. Not warmly. Not coldly. Just, said it. Chioma walked inside. The house smelled of wood smoke and poverty and truth, all the things she'd tried to escape. That night, Chioma lay on her old mat in her old room. No roommates to impress. No audience to perform for. No one to lie to except herself. She thought about the girl she'd created, confident, wealthy, untouchable. That girl was dead now, exposed and shattered into a million pieces. But the girl underneath, the real Chioma, the one who'd been so desperate to be anyone but herself, she was still alive. Still breathing. Still here. And she had no idea who that girl was anymore. Outside, a rooster crowed, announcing tomorrow. Tomorrow, she would wake up and work the farm. Tomorrow, she would learn what it meant to rebuild from nothing. Tomorrow, she would face the hardest truth of all, that the only thing cheaper than her lies had been the price she'd paid for them.